Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. In this video we are going to take a look at Ultimate Admiral Dreadnoughts, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to play through some of these Naval Academy scenarios here, and we're going to start at the top on this episode, which is target practice, which is pretty simple, but it gives you a pretty good feel for the game as far as what it's about. So target practice, if we click on this, we see what we're doing. We're just testing significance of gun technology and firepower against a heavily armed ship, which is stationary and will not shoot back. So now that we know the ship's not going to be moving and it's not going to be firing at us, we can make some decisions. And what we're going to do is we're building a battleship. We have $74 million in funds to build one battleship. There's a 12-minute time limit to sink the enemy ship. The enemy ship has 11 inches of maximum belt armor. It's not moving, it doesn't shoot back, and nobody can use torpedoes. Okay, so down here at the bottom, you can choose a bonus. And if you highlight over the bonus, it tells you what it's going to do. So this gives me plus 10 in small guns. I'm not going to worry about small guns because I'm sinking, I'm basically attacking another battleship. And so in this time period, which I think is about 1890, 1895, somewhere in there, small guns on a battleship were just to counter basically torpedo boats and destroyers. I can optimize main guns, which is what I'm going to do, which gives me a plus 10 in tech, and I can do a balanced gun text, which I'm not going to do. It does give me, really I'm still not using small, I mean I could. I did the optimize main guns before, and I'm going to stick with that. I'm going to optimize main guns. Well, you know what? I'm going to go with this one. I'm going to do this. And the only reason I'm doing this is because it gives me a plus 2 tech on the explosives. All right, so we're going to start. And what you're going to do initially is you're going to get a dry dock, as you can see here, with a ship hull in it. And this particular hull is a battleship type 2. All right, so what we're going to do over here under the characteristics, I've got a couple... Do I have a couple different options here? Oh, that's an old one. And you got to stick with this one. Okay. So I'm going to, my displacement, if I make my displacement go up, it's going to make my ship bigger, i.e. probably longer. My beam makes my ship wider. And as you drag this out, it tells you that the width of the hull greatly affects the ship's maneuverability, stability, and resistance against hits. A wider hull is a more stable shooting platform and has increased displacement and resistance, but is generally slower, less maneuverable, and a larger target that requires significantly more engine power to achieve reasonable speed. I don't care about speed. I don't care about being able to absorb damage. All I want to do on this game is be able to shoot a lot of large gun rounds downrange. And my bulkheads, I can cut my bulkheads back to just about nothing because what they're doing is they're just protecting me from damage and flooding. So I'm going to cut those back. I'm going to cut the range back to I cut it down to, I suppose, yeah, I'm going to leave it down to nothing because I'm not going to hardly move. And I save a lot of, basically a lot of weight. As you see, if you look over here, you see the weight and cost, and if I drag this range way up, well, my cost and my weight go up. Whereas if I drag this down, it keeps it down. The same thing with bulkheads. So I am not going to spend any amount of effort on bulkheads, range, or speed because I don't need any of that right now. Drought is basically how deep in the water you go. The height of the hull greatly affects the ship's maneuverability, stability, and resistance against hits. Taller and consequently larger hull is less stable shooting platform, but is more resistant against flooding and can carry more load. So we're just going to wait and see how this works out. Crew, though, I want to get a good crew, and I can afford to jack up their quarters, which will make them perform better. So down here in coal, I can't really change I'm going to have to use coal because I don't have any of these other technologies yet. Same thing with boilers, steam engines, pretty much the same deal. I can't really change any of that. My rudder I can change, right? So semi-balanced is a compromise for any ship, right? Basically the metal that goes down that attaches the rudder to the ship and turns it is actually not quite in the middle but not on the end, and so it makes it a little easier for you to turn the rudder, but it doesn't turn the ship quite as hard, but you don't lose as much speed in the turns, right? So, or I can use like an unbalanced rudder. You can see, so my turn rate goes up, but my sustained speed while turning drops down, and my acceleration drops off and all this kind of stuff. So, or I can go this way with turning rate, but my speed, but I really don't care because I'm not going to be moving that fast. Steam steering, I mean, that's what I've got. I can't change the hydraulic or electro because I don't have any of those techs. I don't care about armor because I know what he's shooting at me, so I'm just going to continue on down standard bulkheads and the citadel. I don't care about any of that. Now, main tower, I do kind of care a little bit about the towers because that is going to impact my aiming speed, my accuracy, long-range accuracy. I don't really care about communication range or damage control. Smoke interference I do care about because it's going to basically, smoke from my stacks from my engines are going to probably affect my viewing across the where I can see at. So I'm going to move him up there. And I'm going to get a secondary tower because you got to have both of those on there. I'm going to put him back here. I am also going to have to add funnels on here, so I'll try. Can I get dual large ones on here? Yeah, I can. So I'm going to put dual large tunnels or funnels on there. I wish I could put barbets on here. I don't think I can to allow. I mean, yeah, there's just no mount for that on this ship. Can I even get a super firing barbet very small? Can't get anything on there. So I'm just not going to worry about that. What I'm going to focus on, though, is I want centerline guns, the biggest guns I can find. And if I look at this, I've got a, where's my penetration? Down here at the bottom, you can see high explosive armor piercing penetration, belt and deck. At 1,000 meters, I can penetrate somewhere between 7.8 and 39 inches of belt and deck armor. So that's what I'm probably gonna go with because that's really the best I can get done here. And so I'm gonna go with that. Put my 2 gun mounts on here. Got my guns now. Secondary guns. The biggest gun I can get is a 6-inch. Which is going to be, well, actually, you know what? These casemate guns, 6-inch casemate gun. I can mount these all along these casemates here. Okay, so I've got those on. I'm at 10,000 tons, a little over, and I can go up to 15,000 tons. So let's see what else I can. Can't use torpedoes. I don't think I can add secondary guns onto this ship. Yeah, there's nowhere where this is going to be available, I don't think. Or I would, oh, wait a minute. No, it's not going to work through there. I can't get any, basically it'll let me stick it here, but it's going to be behind this, this thing here, which means I don't think it's going to be able to see to shoot. Is that true? Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's not going to be able to see to shoot. So I'm not even going to bother with that, and it's really not going to help me at the end of the day. So I've got, now I've added this, I can change some of my shells around. I've got base views on that, standard armor piercing. I don't think I can change any of that. I'm gonna change my armor piercing shells up. Oh, those are secondary rounds, so which is okay. I'm going to also increase that with armor piercing shell size. I'm going to go heavy. which means they're not going to be able to load as fast, but they'll do 10% more shell damage, and their high explosives actually will have more bursting charge in them, so they'll do more damage. I can increase my amount of shells, which, as you can see, is increasing my weight and my cost, but I'm okay with that. I can't implement... oh, I can. So this is... I can go up to this picric acid 1, which is a super high explosive, mainly composed of picric acid, equivalent to the British lyddite and French melanite and Japanese chamois powder. Okay, so I'm going to shift over to that. I can't increase my hydraulic, but I can increase my loading capability. And so I've done that. I can increase armor. I really don't need to increase or decrease armor because nobody's shooting at me. Okay, so we're ready to go. So once I got my ship set up, I'm just going to click launch, and it's going to take me into the scenario. You know what, though? One thing I can do is I can increase... I don't want to increase it too much, but I can increase my speed on this ship. And I could increase my beam, which will give me a pretty stable gun platform. Okay, and so I'm at 15,182 tons. So I'm 96% on my weight, 99% on my cost. So I'm feeling pretty good. I mean, I've run that up all the way up to the top. Tell me over here I got a top speed of 20 knots, 20 and a half knots. All right, so with 4 13-inch guns and 16 6-inch guns, we're firing in broadside, so I'm only going to be able to bring to bear 8 of my 6-inch guns at any given time. All right, this is my crew details, ship details, if you want to look at those. Maneuverability with engines. My engine efficiency now is only 53%, which I've got a feeling that means out of that 20 knots, I'm going to get maybe 10. All right, but let's go ahead and launch because we're ready to play this game. So it looks like if we look down here in the bottom right, it's building a North Dakota class battleship. That's what we'll be engaging with, our Japanese battleship. And as I said before, I think the time frame on this is about maybe 1890s, so early battleship days. Pre-Dreadnought, I believe. So we click, and we're in the game. We start the battle. Now see, I'm already firing at him. And I can bring my mouse over here and right click on him, which means everything's supposed to engage with him. And as you can see, my my turrets are rotating around, and I'm just going to, and I'm only going to be able to do 13 knots. I'm okay with that. Okay, so as you can see, as he's making hits, I see them up here on the screen. I also get them down here on the bottom left-hand corner where it says report. So my 6-inch guns hit him. They did want a partial penetration, and I got a penetration on his front belt armor. Did 158 damage points and 66.3 on my partial penetration. So I'm not really going to be too worried about that. I am just going to spin around here because I want to get as close as possible so I can't miss this guy. You know what? I'm going to keep on spinning around here. Now, if you come over here and you highlight over here, what is my shooting info? You can see right now I mean, these are the negative things that are impacting my shooting. So my own maneuver is decreasing by 11. My gun recoil, I can't do a lot. It's knocking 10% off. My engine vibrations are at 30% though. But if I bring this down to like 7 knots, I can basically eliminate that, or at least help do away with some of that engine vibration. My issue right now is I do not have, I can't bring my entire broadside to bear. And it's already telling me I'm low on fuel, but I'm just going to keep on swinging around and come up right next to him. Which means I'm not going to get a full broadside right away, but it's okay. Now see, those are my 13-inch guns. I got an over penetration. So over penetration means basically the round went through all the way through the ship before it detonated or without detonating. And because I mean, you want the round to penetrate his armor and then detonate inside the ship. Well, that's not what happened there. I'm going to bring my speed back up so I can go ahead and finish spinning around. Then I'm going to drop down to nothing. Now if I mouse over him, it shows me the damage that I've done. So he's got some flooding going on, looks like on his on the front of his ship. I've damaged a lot of his stuff, including his front. I mean, you can see over here his front, it goes away when I do that, but over here if you look, his front gun mount is turning yellow, which means I've done some damage to it. His stacks, his towers, I've damaged all that. Now my rear gun's starting to rotate around, and if I look over here, you can see this like pie chart, and it's filling in. It's like a timer. Whenever that gets around, it's like on the 6-inch guns, then they can fire. But what's going to happen is I'm going to bring around this other broadside, and I'm not going to need to. They'll be fine because these are starting to reload on the far side now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to straighten out, drop my, so I'm basically bringing my speed down to standby, which is going to bring me to 4 knots, but I think I'm going to be close enough. I'm going to drag this down to just a, you know what, I'm going to keep on going until I get this leveled out. Now, if I look up here in the top left-hand corner, I have 7.5 minutes left, which is more than enough time for me to sink this ship. So if I look at this guy now, he's got 40% flooding on both his stern and the front of the ship. So now I'm going to go ahead and let that continue to level out until he's going to bring that rear gun around so he can fire. And you can see, is that gonna... Yep. Now if I drink, so if you saw my engine vibrations, or it used to be at 30%, now they're down to like 15 and they're dropping. So if you watch, because I've just basically decreased my speed down to 0. And once that drops down to 0, I'm hoping my engine vibration speed effect on my accuracy drops completely off. Yeah, we're really pounding him. He's almost sunk right now. He's got 31% left on his floating. If you look at him, his structure damage is at 84%, which is actually pretty low. But he's not going to last much longer. I think that 13-inch gun shell that just went off didn't actually hit. And it's like, you look at this, you're this close. How did you miss? But I suppose that might, I mean, this close, I'd still question that. But the reality is, I think, back in the day, this is 1890s, there's really not any gun stability on these gun turrets. Not that I don't know how they, I think they didn't really have gun stability even onto World War II with the last of the big gun ships. but they did have computers to figure out when the guns should shoot based on the roll of the ship and where they were trying to hit. So not really sophisticated computers, but kind of your electromechanical computers. So So you can see all this smoke here. It's what we were talking about with being able to see with the towers and the stacks and everything. Okay, so the 13-inch guns are going to go off here in a minute. Now, I know, like World War II, you think of World War II battleships, right? 14, 15, 16-inch guns. In the case of the Japanese, you're talking 18-inch guns, so he's done. This period, though, 1890, a 13-inch gun on a ship is a big gun. Yep, so North Dakota sunk due to heavy flooding. So that's the end of that ship. So it didn't take too long. That was that scenario. Now, whenever you get done, it shows you, crew lost, ship sunk, all this kind of stuff. And you're only engaging one ship that didn't shoot back. So in this case, and this is probably the most boring of the scenarios. They get much better as we go along. But this shows my damage that I dished out was 8.3 thousand points of damage. I caused him to have 6 different floodings, 12 fires. It was 100% write-off. Just all that stuff in his main gun status. So I knocked out some of his main guns. Looks like 2 of them, I suppose. I don't know. Where all my equipment was still functioning. I just burned through like 2% of my ammo, looks like. So anyway, that is our first round with playing the Dreadnought game. So I hope you enjoyed that. Next time we come back, we will actually take a look at first turrets with the USS Monitor, and that'll be a fun game to go through there with a Civil War period ironclad. So hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do me a favor, hit the like button down below, and if you'd like to see more, please hit the subscribe button. That'll help my channel out a lot. I appreciate you watching, and I look forward to seeing you back next time. Thanks. Take care.